I hope you read the title because I don't know what it's gonna be right now, except for it might be a little clickbaity. Still, no matter what the title is, why is that question being posed? Well, let me start at the beginning with a tweet by Grummz, which seemed to be a little bit of a oddity for him. He hasn't actually said anything else before or after about this particular game, which I do agree with him. It does look like a very cool game. The next line, that is quite interesting. But as always, how accurate to reality is this statement here? Because this doesn't actually make sense without the context. So let's get into the context, which is placed right below, like this was purposely placed just to get this sort of response. That Park Place, read about it here. No rest for the wicked. CEO Thomas M. rebukes consultant Alex B., who attempted to justify DEI hiring practices. Quote, he was fired. Let's get into this. May 3rd, 2024, John F. Trent. May 3rd, 2024, John F. T. What exactly did this Alex say? In response to a lengthy thread justifying DEI practices by
Hog Studios.
CEO Jade L, another CEO, Brazen, I believe it said, posted, yeah, it would help if people understood. Effective DEI is about helping people who historically didn't have networks. It says network, it should be networks. To get eyes on their work to have a chance due to their equal skill. The whole merit smearing is so banal, presumptuous, and so out of touch with reality. Frankly, I have to agree with this Alex guy. No, I won't be going Alexandra. Technically, this was in response to the great post. It actually says a lot about people when they call someone a diversity hire and automatically assume their merit is inferior. So notice here how the word effective, DEI, is being used here. So that would be effectively saying there is plenty of ineffective DEI within the actual system. Okay, does this Alex have anything else to say about DEI? How does he justify it to people? Does he argue for it or anything like that? What is this effective DEI even? I'm sure this article's definitely going to go into that. Plug for another article I see. Millers responds to B's comment and rebuked him in a comment on this author's coverage of B's original comment. Miller responded to Brazen's comments and rebuked him in a comment on this author's coverage of Brazen's original comments on the Trent Report YouTube channel. This person is not affiliated with Moon Studios in any way whatsoever anymore, Milliard wrote. He added, we contracted him for a short stint and he was fired for bringing nothing but friction on our team. Just a FYI. Question, Trent. How is this responding to Brazzy's comment? This just sounds like he's distanced himself from this, assuming this YouTube account even is under the control of Thomas Millard here, which is probably true from what I can find. I don't see him saying anything about, I don't know how this what relates to the single reply Brazzy had on this particular post at all. Oh, and we get another leap. In March, Milliard indicated that his company does not really hire consultants. He wrote on X, we don't really hire consultants. So pardon me if I'm going to ignore all your messages. I pretty much agree with what Jobs had to say about consulting, he added. And I know I'll get some hate for this, but it is what it is. Okay, string together these three separate little pieces for me because I'm not seeing the connection. I'm not thinking this Trent is exactly that intelligent of a guy. Another reading, video game consultants, blah, blah, blah. As for the jobs, comment the Apple founders state. Okay, what does this have to do with effective DEI? Okay, is this that important to the story? Does it have to do anything? Come on, let's get back onto it. Plug, plug. No rest for the wicked. Releases early access. Blah, blah, blah. Oh, here. What do you make of Millard's rebuke of Alex Razzie? So let's go back to the Grummz tweet and try to sort of suss things out. Again, I co-sign the No Rest for the Wicked. Looks to be a very cool game. It does. This is the next part that I find interesting. They did the right thing and fired their DEI agitating consultant. So they are definitely hinting that this company fired someone who was agitating or trying to push a DEI policies who was a consultant within the company earlier for causing friction on the dev team, which are two events, which are two things that, from what I can tell, are not related at all. There's no evidence, no proof for any of that. Good job. More game companies need to get rid of activists. There's no evidence that but Grummz didn't say Alex. No, he's just sort of reiterated what was stated within this article. Rather sly way not to name a certain person in the industry. Legally, I don't even think Alex could sue Grummz here. Not that he would for this particular issue here. But I keep hearing about sue her, sue him, blah, blah, blah. Let's just not get the law involved or the police unless there's a credible threat. But that's a different matter altogether. So the $1 million question is why focus on this particular guy? But given all the factors that are going on, the only thing I can really think for this one off attack, the only reason I can see why they would take up this particular narrative. Yeah, it's a small bump in the road, bringing up this particular former WoW game developer and mentioned they were fired because supposedly because they were agitating for DEI as a consultant, trying to sort of create that mental leak between this person and Kim Belair to such a point they have to get a reply post to frame it this way, which on the surface, most people won't actually notice. So, why do I think that this thing being done to label Alex as woke? Sorry, they have a new spin on it. It's something like DEI supporter, enabler, agitator, whatever works. But maybe Trent Report didn't get the memo on that particular change in language.
So let's get into this. Before we do, I'd like to ask you please hit that subscribe button, hit that bell for notifications so you don't miss any of our future videos here at the Trent Report. I wrote this up over at thatparkplace.com. Before we get into this is Alexander Brazzi right here on X. You can see AdamMech.com CEO, No Rest for the Wicked game designer, former game systems designer at Riot Games, and a former game designer at Blizzard. He's also the owner of GameDesignSkills.com. Go over here and look at Adam Mech. Clearly says that it is Adam Mech Consulting is a video game design firm that brings high-level design experience and direction to new studios through short-term training, design review, and long-term support services. We empower studios to create engaging gaming experiences through our comprehensive game design strategy. So it looks to be a game similar or a game design company, consulting company similar to Sweet Baby Inc. Although we're not seeing the heavy woke ideology on their website as we did with Sweet Baby Inc. But it kind of gives you an idea of who this person is, right?
And how exactly does invoking the dreaded Sweet Baby Inc. name here helps your audience get any what of an idea of who this person is? Maybe if he would have scrolled down just a little bit like this, you would see among the 5 mostly light skinned gentlemen here displayed on the website, only the middle one has really any overlap with what Sweet Baby Inc. claims to do with the title Game Narrative Expert. But his credits shows that's not all he can do. In fact, he has very little experience with narrative direction, but maybe he learned it here. Now, I can't say for sure that this was really all intentional, Trent, of Park Place, a website that, is trying to be a journalistic outlet. Or maybe I'm assuming so much. I just really don't understand the logic, as you could figure. And I went over a lot more than what was included in this video. I sort of have ethical hesitations about making such wild claims off of so little evidence, but that's just me, someone not trying to be a journalist. Back to Trent of that Park Place with this article and articles, should I say, and his video. Also, there's a person that sort of tipped him off all about this little reply from Alex that he credited. Not sure if I should bring him up here. Easy enough to find, but didn't want to get down that rabbit hole. Might do that on the stream this weekend, though. Still, no matter the intent of it, it does set Grummz up perfectly for this claim that the CEO of a video game consulting firm is a DEI agitator consultant or something like that. With the added caveat that really isn't confirmed, just verified with a comment. It's not even pinned or followed up on, just taken as absolute fact. Something I have a problem with ethically. I just don't listen and believe, no matter if it's a woman like Amber Heard, which frankly comes across a little bit more credible than just a comment on a YouTube video, which I don't even know how that person would have been aware of a 4K channel. But lips are flapping. I'm sure someone got back to him with this, at least on the DL. Not seeing him say anything about it on his Twitter or any public space. With all that in mind, I'm sort of wondering why focus on this one person? Oh, for when or if this gets brought up here. Oh, you need more on Kern? Dude flew me out to California to train me as a producer. Training proceeded to be him reading from a book and getting pissed when I asked him questions. Then asked me to write adware to inject into World of Warcraft. When I refused, he kicked me to the curb, stranded me thousands of miles from my home as he was annoyed I had too many opinions on game design for a producer. I was employee 6 at Red 5. If it hadn't been for Rob Pardo and Jeffrey at Blizzard, I would have been broke, stranded, and wrecked in the video game industry. So, of course, making him as a woke or DEI aligned agitator consultancy group, framing the same way they frame Sweet Baby Inc., but with almost absolutely no evidence to really back it up besides one reply to someone talking about DEI policies. This is definitely a very sly way at least hinting, if not trying to build the building blocks for the narrative that Alex has the woke mind virus. So therefore, Grummz and the followers who believe in him hardcore don't have to treat people like Alex or anyone who aligns with him with good faith or even be polite to those type of people. So, from the way I see it, it seems like defenders and people who sort of orbit around Grums are doing whatever sort of stretches in logic to sort of discredit the people who are being critics or say anything bad about Mr. Grums. Have to give the man credit, or maybe about the people around him thinking a couple moves ahead. So when this actually finally does come out in the future, if it comes out within any reporting or anything like that, they'll be like, of course he doesn't like Grums. He's a DI agitator consulting group, just like Sweet Baby Inc. And his fan base will just eat it all up. So, does this mean Trent or others who are trying to, cover wokeness or DI in games who sort of follow and associate with Grums are automatically choosing to run cover for Grums, even if the concerns about Grums really come from, the sort of issues he's had in the past and, some of the current side hustles, side projects that he has working on. that really has nothing to do with his culture war antics. I'm not going to assume or presume about these people because I'm not a mind reader, but I just have a question. Is it accidental? Something they choose to do on their own? Or are they planning this like somewhere in a Discord or playing video games together? Just talking, shooting the shit, and throwing it out there? Why, in a typical VC? Hard to tell. Would like to know. Because some of this, at least in this particular instance that I'm focused on for this video, it seems like some sort of strategy to sort of downplay Grummz's involvement with sort of delegitimizing his critics' credibility, at least with his audience. I mean, hell, I have a whole sort of stream that goes over just a small part of GigaBear planned for the weekend, and I don't even know if that'll be enough. Still, with this particular instance, Grummz's tweet makes absolutely no sense to someone who hasn't actually read the article. Maybe I missed him talking about it. Maybe he talked about someplace else where, where all his followers hang out, but just seems like an interesting thing he didn't decide to share that. He made this look innocent, but clearly hinting at this article here. Well, he does have a interesting concept of marketing. We know that from his past. Aside from the showmanship value of that particular decision, maybe the marketing of, the culture war, which seems a little odd to me. The only reason I can think why he's playing a little bit of a dumb, cutesy boy is because in the case where something like this happens to backfire on him, like if someone with a lot more reach than me comes down to criticize Trent for, the dishonest, dumb, and or delusional article he put out there, Grummz can simply deny, denounce, and or discard those doing these sort of unethical things, even if it is for the sake of his goals. Well, I say his goals, but they might share certain goals and might be willing to do that. And that really is, if he can't spin it look like that supporter is just being a victim of whatever institute he really wants to demonize as he tends to do. Softly, of course. Admit, on the surface level, he does seem to be very civil about it, but there is definitely signs, hints of maliciousness underneath a lot of Grummz's personal actions and even more among his supporters and followers. It's remind me of leftists like Vosh talking about all Republicans are just evil, fascist creatures. I don't attribute malice when stupidity is a much more easier explanation for it. Not that there aren't malicious actors out there on the left, because there definitely are. But how much have malicious intent, or how many of them are just poorly informed with horrible impulse control, so they can't really process things as a rational person should, especially in times of stress because they take fucking social media so fucking seriously. Touch grass for people like that. Let's not. I am curious if I'll get any comments about, whatever possible clickbait terms I'm, at this current time while I'm recording this, included in the title of this video. Frankly, I'm thinking simp is the best to go with. Also, sort of like White Knight, a little bit longer than simp. So maybe I'll put that on the thumbnail and put simp in the title. Little old fashioned clickbait. But then again, I prattle on. That's what my streams are for. So that's all I got for this video. Till next time, peace out.